There we go.
Canadian accent.
Someone's baby.
Hey, remember? Oh.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Dealer back again with yet another RDX podcast, Real Deal Xbox podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. We do appreciate it so much. We've got a phenomenal panel, a phenomenal guest, and some great topics. Honestly, every week I say this because I wrote it down. So again, guys, thanks for joining us. Hit that like button, share this out, help us out a little bit. And thanks to everybody who's already super chatted and become channel members and all that stuff. As always, thank you guys so much for what you do. To the 300 waiting on us. You know what? I'm going to get into some introductions. We'll give some shout outs, and then we'll get into the first topic. And let's start with my good buddy, Colt Eastwood. Buddy, how you been?
Good. I'm glad to be here. It's going to be a good show. We've got a lot more people than I think you can handle.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we got an extra panel member tonight. And well, we got two, but, you know, one's a special guest. Luca is always welcome, as you know. But, again, it should be a good show. D-Batch, are you back yet?
Yes.
What's going on, buddy?
I'm chilling, man. I gotta say, today was that day where I had to go out and get groceries for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and it was nerve-wracking. So it's good to be home now, relaxed, and being able to do this show. Trust me.
Oh shit! All my again with the Hercule voice. No, I can't do the Hercule voice. Sorry, can't do it. Hey, we've also got Guillermo. I'll get to you in a second, buddy. Luca, thanks for joining us.
Hey, what's up, guys? Luca here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back with my bros and, you know, to speak to Alanah as well. So, yeah, let's have a good show.
Hey, Guillermo says ready for the show. And what's up, dealer? And also the panel and the chat, too. Thank you so much, Guillermo. I do appreciate it, buddy. We've also got the one and only Grounded Gamer. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? It's good to be here. Oh, I forgot to say, what's up, cool cats and kittens?
Oh, good.
Oh, jeez. Please.
All right. I'm glad you cut that one short. Tim Dog, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, you guys doing? Happy to be here. Going to be a great show. Thanks, Alanah and Luca, for coming down. And we'll have a good time.
Who is that? Fucking with the... Hey, Zalker, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Excited for the show. It's going to be good. We have awesome topics. Talk about everything. Alanah Pearce is here. She's a cool person, kind of, I guess. And Luca, who is the coolest person.
I think Alana's really cool. Thanks for joining us, Alanah Pearce. Formerly of IGN, now you run your own YouTube channel, and you're a billionaire. What's going on? Thanks for joining us.
Well, don't know about any of that, but hi, thanks for having me. How y'all doing?
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go over some topics and have some fun, and I'm going to miss a lot of shots in Resident Evil 3. So, you know, in the gameplay. So
He damn it controls his gameplay because he sucks.
You know, at least I play games, Zalker.
Go ahead and kill you.
Hey, but we do have to give some shout outs to some of my patrons here. The shout out tier, Assassin Lupa, shout out to you. We've also got Alec Gamer 4. We've got Frost Did That Shit, Dave, Tony Stark RDX, Pixel Witcher, Great One for Real, aka KY Bob, Foreign Object. You should just change your name to KY Bob, Foreign Object. We've also got Teo, John Blue, Vec Balls, Deviator X, Obi-Wan FTW, Scout Trooper 74, Centurion 1307. This list gets longer and longer, so I'll try to read it faster. Real Deal Neil. We've also got Suicide King, Guillermo Cavillo, Michael Bowen, Tasteless Genie, and Chanagram, as well as Naughty Nubbin, Alfonso Hogan, A-Squad Gaming, Slim 73. Thank you guys so much for what you do. And we've got to start off with Alanah. Last week we had Bill Stillwell on the Xbox team. He's working on augmented reality now, right? And we started off, but I found a way to try to work him in early, and I'm just going to come out and just kind of ask you a question early on to get you engaged here. So you've seen the evolution. You were on the front lines when Xbox needed to damage control the most back in 2013. They've come a long way. What do you think they need to do going forward to really kind of seal the deal with a lot of gamers out there? You're on social media. You understand the climate here.
Look, there's a lot of things that Xbox do that I'm aggressively in support in. I wrote an article for Kotaku just at the end of the last year about all the things that they don't get credit for that they do really, really well. And no matter what I list, whether it's Play Anywhere or Crossplay or Game Pass, which are incredible services, the answer is always going to be, but what about the exclusives though? So I feel like we got to see big games, big known franchises coming out of all of those studios that they acquired. That's what it's got to be.
We do need them. We need them really bad. And you're right. They don't get quite the credit they need for some of the pro consumer things they do. I know Colt and I have covered this extensively. Colt, you probably agree with that, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the Game Pass and all that stuff's really great, but Alanah's right. People always say, where are the games? And
those people are
Microsoft
right
didn't-
too, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I say it too. Like they didn't deliver them. I mean, I get I get called.
now we're
a
playing Super
Sony
Lucky's
shill.
Tale. God damn it.
Yeah,
Grind, it's coming.
yeah. I'll
Grind,
get
it's
called a
coming.
Sony shill for spending 3 minutes talking about how Xbox didn't deliver this generation, but they've made big changes and they've been holding out for what we're going to see in like 2 weeks. So I know, cry some more, I guess.
I mean, we're not supposed to say the date of that, Colt.
I just said about. You know.
Okay. Well, either way,
Nice.
what'd you say, Zucker?
I said fraud.
Fraud, yeah. Either way, I think Alana's right. They do need to deliver on those big blockbuster games, right? Like Gears Tactics looks good, and we'll come to that later in the show. They got some other stuff. Gears 5 was surprisingly good to a lot of people, though it did have some post, launch issues that were unfortunately there. But either way, I mean, Tim Dog, there's a big rumor going on around Xbox buying Sega. I mean, is there any stock? Can we put any faith in this? Is there any light at the end of the tunnel here? And how the fuck is the hedgehog going to help Xbox right now?
17 shots missed.
The leak came from Sega Bits Twitter, which is a pretty big Twitter account, and basically it showed an ad for June 14th, 9 a.m. They since taken it down, deleted the tweet. I haven't heard anything. This has been a rumor since literally 2013. It makes a lot of sense, but there's to be honest, I wouldn't put much into it. The only thing that was noteworthy was it was a pretty known Twitter account that posted that, and why they posted that I don't know. But just take it down. So a lot of grain of salt with that particular rumor. So I would say err on the side of caution on that.
I mean, there's a lot of people talking about it, right? Like,
yeah.
But ask yourself,
a lot of people want it.
What IP do they even have that you're like, well, yeah, fuck yeah, Crazy Taxi. Like, what? I mean, what is there that we could really, really get hyped about?
I mean, I was gonna say I'd love to see a Vanquish 2, but that was made by Platinum.
Yeah,
So
they published it, right?
they'd have to get Platinum to make it, and I don't see that happening right now with the Platinum's.
Like-
What about
Something like
5 game
Warhammer.
announcements recently?
Warhammer, maybe. Yeah, they do own that team, right? Do they own? Is that Insomniac? Go ahead, Tim. What were you saying?
I mean, obviously you think of Sonic, but I think that when
Do
you
you?
talk to, well, I mean, it is when you think of Sega, you think of Sonic,
It's true.
but
It's true.
I mean, looking at that, that's not really. I think Sonic would be good, but I don't think it's going to get Xbox fans going. I think we kind of want more mature games, or a lot of that. I see a lot of complaints are about that. It could be a nice little thing. It could be just an arcade type thing. If it is going to happen, I would think it's something like that. I don't think it's going to be something like large scale AAA Sega games or remakes. I just think it would be something like an arcade store or Sega or some type of collaboration that they do.
You're missing out on the big picture, Tim. Super Lucky's Tale, Sonic together in the same game. Darj Knight, he says, have a great show, guys. Stay safe out there. Thank you so much. Again, I'm not going to be good to all these super chats. I'm not going to be able to do it, guys. I've been telling you guys the last several shows. But Valorant says, great stream dealer. Do appreciate it. Question for all of you. We're not going to be able to do like questions across the board. What is your dream studio acquisition? I mean, we could say, I don't know, I'd throw CD Projekt Red out there, but they don't even own the biggest IPs they work on. So that's kind of a tricky one. They don't own Witcher. They don't own Cyberpunk. But they are quality. Either way, guys.
Can I say Platinum? Like, even though I just made a Vanquish reference, like if I go Platinum,
Platinum, huh?
Yeah, but maybe we could get Scalebound. I don't know how likely that is, but
I think Bill just shot that down like a week ago. He said, yeah, but he's done that before.
Supposedly,
He said, "Stop
issue-
asking."
The insider rumor that I heard about Scalebound's cancellation was that they simply couldn't make it work on the engine, and it's the same engine that prevented us from getting Dead Island 2, for example, and the theory is maybe it just doesn't work with.
Is it called the Trash Engine? Like, which one is that? I don't. What's it on?
Big
What's it
Trash
on?
Engine. I think it's on Unreal. Let me check.
Oh, it can't be Unreal.
It's basically like a series of open world games have not worked, except I think Fortnite Arc. Let me check.
Yeah.
Well, I remember hearing. I do remember hearing.
Unreal, yeah.
Oh, really? What
Yeah.
the hell?
I do remember somebody saw a preview.
Confirmed Trash
And,
Engine.
They basically said it wasn't running at all. It was like running sub 20 frames per second. So
Yeah,
could
we
be.
had a lot of trouble getting it to actually function, especially as a studio that doesn't have a lot of experience with that platform. But supposedly Microsoft was pressuring them to use that engine because they wanted to have a vast portfolio of first-party titles using different engines for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, Gears uses Unreal Engine, and they were able to make a game that looks far better to Scalebound, that's open world, and runs double the frame rate on the edge.
But it's not really open world. It's more linear.
It's much bigger than Scalebound, look, from what I saw. But I don't know, Fonzarelli. Maybe you do.
We don't know. We'll never know because we're never going to get Scalebound. So we're never going to know.
Phil kicked that out the window.
Thing got killed. Phil Spencer, like when Ryan asked him that in the interview, Phil just looked at him like, "You fuckboy." I don't know. He got like annoyed. Like he's like, "Why?"
If it's two things. If it's two things Phil hates, it's when he's asked about Scalebound or brute force. Okay, we all know that. We're not getting those games.
Hey, we do got to give a shout out real quick, by the way, to almost 1,200 people watching this live, guys. We've been cracking like $2,000 over the past several months, so we do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for being here and supporting the show like you do. Hit that like button. Let's try to get it past 6, 7, 800, 5 million by the end of the show. Likes, and of course, share this out for us. We do appreciate it a lot. But I mean, Sega, Tim says don't put much validity in it. I think it would be a big L if they bought Sega. That's 500 million at the very least, I would imagine. And I don't see any super valuable IPs that, at least that people like myself would want. But everyone's different, right? So
I think I don't think it's Sega.
What's the last game that Sega released that was super poppin'?
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 back on the Genesis.
Yeah,
you gotta
Sonic
look
hasn't
this
been
up.
doing well in regards to its IP either. It's been having it's had a rough go at it. So I don't know about Sega myself.
Snake Eyes. He says, "Here's 5 for not reading my super duper chat. Let's go."
I think Sonic could still work in today's climate. It just has to
just wear a face mask.
We had a good Sonic game, man.
I mean, I think Sonic can work. The issue is that Sonic can't get people excited. There is no way that I mean, except for major Sonic fans, which to be fair, there are a lot of, but I don't think you're going to get people jumping consoles because of Sonic.
Yeah,
I don't think
you're
you're
right.
gonna get people into the Xbox system with Sonic.
And it's Sega's fault for running that IP kind of into the ground a little bit.
For sure.
You know?
I honestly think that the Sega thing has to do with an RTS game because that's what Sega's been known for a while. They made Company Heroes. They made a lot of freaking good RTS games like Total War. I think that Xbox is maybe grabbing some of their talent and putting it on their RTS studio they built for Age of Empires. I don't know. That's what I think because that's what's been like connected was always like some form of RTS with Relic. Relic, who made
they make
RTS. They make fucking badass games. I don't care what anybody says. Like RTS games, I get they're not that popular, but I love strategy. So I think that's what's going on. I think that's the relationship there. But who knows?
Or what if they're reimagining the old games? Because they do have some old games. Like I remember
they have a ton of old games.
Golden Axe. Golden Axe.
Shinobi.
Yeah.
Shishinmu. I'm looking at it all right now. They have a ton of older games. It's
hey, in theory, we got 2 more Shenmues coming.
Yeah.
In theory.
Well, hopefully they hit Game Pass so I can not download them.
Echo the Dolphin.
Oh, Echo the Dolphin.
Echo the Dolphin. All right.
That was dope back in the day.
Pull the trigger, Phil.
It was dope.
Fucking flip it.
Echo the Dolphin.
It was dope though. It was a good game back in the day.
Yeah.
It was
Back in
the
the day,
water
yeah.
exploration, right?
Yeah, I ain't heard D-Batch just excited about a game in a minute. Blow the Dolphin got him going.
Xbox Studios.
All these games were wonderful back in the day, but they don't hold up today, and that's the point. Like a lot of these Sega games do not hold.
Fonz and I used to play Bubble Bobble. I'm not with it to come back to Xbox.
Exactly.
That was in real life in your guys' hot tub.
Okay. Well, now that Zucker decided to make things weirder than his face already does, let's go ahead and move forward. Hey, we do got Shinobi talking about some stuff as well, which we're pretty sure this is legitimate because Shinobi is a trusted source. Who wants to cover that? Who did actually cover this? Did any of you guys make a video on this at all? Nobody?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Probably Zucker.
Zucker, I'm sure you did. Go ahead and give us the specific details on what Shinobi's talking about here. Aside from Witcher style art direction with let's just say Fable.
Yeah, so Shinobi kind of talks about like having like how Xbox people were asking like, oh, when are we going to start seeing these bigger games and all this stuff, like more detailed games, like we were just talking about and Alanah just talked about AAA games, basically bring bigger games with notable franchises. and he said it's going to be happening soon, much sooner than we think. He's incredibly excited what he's seeing. He said there's gorgeous fantasy worlds, reboots, and big sci-fi. Should be a lot of fun. I'm reading the direct quote that he put up. So basically, that's what's going on. Is that we've heard about like big fantasy worlds, like the worst kept secret in the world, right? Fable, by Playground, something like that. Reboots, we don't know. I mean, obviously, Perfect Dark's been kind of rumored. A bunch of other games. The big sci-fi one's the one that I'm just kind of like, I have no idea where that's coming from.
Let me get Alanah's take on it. Alanah, do you think Fable's real? Because we happen to know Fable's real. What about you? Do you think it's real?
Yes, I totally think it's real. Yeah, and I want it more than anything.
Okay.
That is like, it's so badly wanted.
Can you believe that there are people that don't think it's real at this point? It's kind of...
No, yeah, I feel like it pretty much definitely is. But I don't know what form it's going to take because obviously Xbox have recently shown a major focus on multiplayer. I mean, they tried with Fable Legends. I did get to play that. Did you guys play it?
I made fun of it.
Yeah, it was fun enough, but more fun to make fun of, I think. You know, they tried, and it's something that other people have replicated a bunch of times. Not that they were the first to do it either, but...
Does it make you feel better knowing they have Uncharted talent, they've got Batman Arkham talent there, they got Bioshock, Rockstar talent?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that is a team that I trust to make Fable, but I keep being like, what are you going to do about a multiplayer component, though, and how aggressive is that going to be? Because... I mean, Fable 1 is like the Lost Chapters is one of my favorite games ever.
They're going to take the multiplayer from Horizon 4 as the and they're going to put the characters from Fable in the cars. I think so.
Well, honestly, the biggest thing about that quote that excites me most is the big sci-fi, and I'm just trying to rack my brain on what that could be. And Alanah, what do you think that could be? Big sci-fi. What is he talking about here?
Well, did they say new IP? Because big sci-fi could be Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark is a very extensive sci-fi universe. I also love Perfect Dark. I mean, you got alien best friends. You got laptop guns.
What's the lore of Perfect Dark besides? Hey, I forgot the lore of Perfect Dark.
Basically Elvis the alien. That's the lore.
Elvis
the extent of
what?
It. His name's Elvis.
Actually kind of hit it on the nose.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm even more confused.
Status is good.
Yeah, it could be that. Otherwise,
I
agreed. Honestly have no idea. But I do think there's probably going to be a rush any time now for people to try to make the next Mass Effect because clearly Andromeda didn't work too well. They lost a lot of hype there. I think
Clearly,
a lot
EA
of studios
said,
being
"Fuck
like, how do we get on Mass Effect and not do Anthem?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2, one of my favorite games ever, and I just want a new Mass Effect that's actually good. But
I just don't make it a looter shooter. It should work out.
I loved Anthem. I love the mechanics of it, but everything else about the game just
broken.
Yeah,
so broken.
Oh man, Colt, we along with all this, the fucking Crysis Twitter account came back to life after 4 years.
Why did they choose this week to do that?
They said,
so weird.
I don't know. It's got something. Xbox are working with them on something, surely, because the Xbox account replied to them and asked them if they like tacos, and they said yes. So what do you think about that?
I don't know who else replied to Crytek, or actually Crysis is what we should call it.
It's even weirder that it was Crysis and not Crytek. Like, that is even stranger.
The Crytek employee on the Twitter account got fired. They do have people at the Crytek team.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on with Crytek. If like they're even in the capability to start funding a new
they
game,
didn't have
but
massive lawsuits.
Well, and our best guess is that it's that the Crysis account woke up from 2016 to say, "Hey, we're gonna remaster the trilogy and sell it to you all over again." And that's the best scenario we have right now, I think. Unfortunately, but I never played the first one. The third one is kind of weird for me. I love the second one. So
Can we talk about that bow in the third one though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Predator bow is like, I think that it might be in the second as well, but if you play Crysis 3 with the intention of playing it just as Batman,
yeah,
you show up in a room and you hide out and then you just use the Predator bow on everyone. It's so much fun. but the game's not designed to be played that way. But I mean, you can cloak pretty much the whole time too, so it's dope. But that's not what Crysis is made for, and the story got muddy. And I don't know. I feel like the most exciting thing about the idea of it being re-released or remastered has always been we've kind of lost that tentpole game of like, which game is going to break my PC. You know, can you run Crysis though?
Yes.
I don't feel like we have that game right now.
Right now, it's Red Dead 2, I think.
That's
Kids
what I
Move.
actually thought about. I thought about exactly that when especially with Series X, maybe that could be some type of
Yes.
thing that they push.
Yeah.
But that is the game that crushes every PC, everything.
To this day, it's
that's
still
the
really
thing.
demanding.
Now it's the opposite. It's this game doesn't run on my PC and it should. That's like that happens all the time.
True.
So
D,
yeah, you're right. There hasn't been a game that was like so amazingly beautiful in visuals and scope that it was crippling GPUs and PC builds.
Red Dead
but-
2 and Metro are up there, though. I'll say that. Kid Smooth thinks the rumor, by the way, I don't want to come to D after this, but Kid Smooth thinks the rumor pertains to both Fable and Perfect Dark. They're both reimaginings, and they're both fantasy, and
I hope so.
could
man.
be. So
That'd be great.
yeah, we're supposed to hear about Initiative's game this year, and we've heard behind the scenes that it is definitely Perfect Dark. So I don't know.
I've also heard they're working on two things, and Perfect Dark would be the one that comes out first. Tim, have you heard about that, or Alanah, have you heard anything?
The only rumor I've really heard, which I'm sure you guys have already heard before, is just that the Perfect Dark multiplayer is being worked on by the Coalition. But I feel like that's probably a fairly common rumor at this point.
Yeah. Perfect Dark is the name that I've heard for the longest time. So since Initiative, was made, and I believe the guy wasn't it the guy who's the head of it? His name escapes me, but
Daryl
he
Gallagher?
did. Daryl Gallagher. He did Tomb Raider. So with Joanna Dark, I think it could work there. I think that it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, we got to give a shout out to the chat as well, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are as we move along here. But the Shinobi, if he says something, pay attention. I know that for a fact. And again, there should be some pretty interesting stuff coming out in the next couple months at least. And within the next month, we know for a fact there's some stuff coming, which is really cool. Probably some technical related stuff as well. But either way, just to recap, the Sega thing, don't put too much stock in it. Plus, that's an L. Shinobi's talking about the new games and how gorgeous these titles can look. What's the deal with the Cyberpunk stuff, Colt? Like, they're talking and they keep talking about Series X support, but refuse to mention PlayStation for some reason. Do you think maybe that's a staggered thing?
I don't know. It just seemed weird to me that Sony didn't step up at any time and say, don't worry, we're not going to charge you for a PS5 version of Cyberpunk. But a lot of people have educated me that since there's a marketing deal in place with Microsoft and Sony hasn't explained everything that's going on cross-generation or explained very much with back compat and all that stuff.
They don't even know themselves. They're like, we hope we can have thousands of titles, or we think we can have thousands of titles. Like,
well, I would just prepare some people for the eventuality that Sony might charge for a port, but I don't think they will.
Oh man.
No,
I don't think they will either.
No.
and if
But I think regarding that, it comes third-party developer from what I've heard. So when let's say that Microsoft offers smart delivery for the publisher and they can use it, there's still a possibility that third-party developer could say, no, we don't want to use that. What we want to do is we want to enhance support with ray tracing, 60 frames per second, and we're going to charge whatever the amount of money. So it is possible that you could see that, I think, with these next generation.
I swear to God, if I see anybody in the chat damage control pay patches, I'll throw Ninja Stars.
Absolutely.
Like that is the most anti-consumer thing.
I have heard that it is possible that even with smart delivery that developers it's up to them.
Yeah, and
really,
let me add that Microsoft.
I've heard the opposite, where
possible.
they're not allowed. There's a mandate. They can't charge.
Microsoft.
There
made it
was a
possible to
mandate
charge.
with Xbox One X. There was a mandate. Now I heard that mandate is not.
Yes,
valid.
Microsoft has made it possible if developers or publishers choose, they can charge for ports. So saying that Sony could do this, if they leave the door open for publishers to choose how they want to get paid, we may be on the disadvantage on that.
It's time for some curb stomping.
Well, aren't we
It's
just all?
going to be where console gamers will have to stand up and say we're not going to tolerate this. It can be a real problem because on PC you'll never have this problem. If you buy a game 10 years ago, as long as the licensing didn't go away and you can still buy the game, you can play it on your hardware.
It's really like
the
you
thing
getting
is
a
that-
2080 Ti and having to pay $10 or $5 to be able to play it in 4K now.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean, we're talking about console generations here, and one has to also look at the fact that we are looking at this as if they are like they're guaranteeing that all their previous games for the PS4 are going to be backwards compatible with the PS5. I mean,
Right.
that's what we're looking at it like. And I don't think you can do that necessarily. I mean, Xbox has already said so, that's what they're doing. I mean, all we've heard is from Mark Cerny kind of saying, well, we're working on the games and the backwards compatibility, but it's not, they're not all there yet. So, I mean, are we going to guarantee third party are going to be there too? Backwards compat? I don't know. I think that's.
I really don't think so.
Yeah.
The reason I don't think that they will is not that they don't want to. It's just that it's a Japanese company, and the way that they do business is extremely different to the way that a Western company does business. And I feel like a lot of Sony's troubles are that their market is so huge in America, but they're still run by a Japanese company.
What are you trying to say, Alanah?
I feel like they might
You're
just
gonna
be
be
like, that's
buying
not
it
the way
over.
we do business. No. There's nothing they can do about it. It's just
So you're saying that most likely you're going to have to rebuy that game again on the PS5 if you want a newer version.
I think so. Yeah.
God,
yeah.
that would suck though.
Otherwise,
Like,
you'll be
you
able
really
to
think they
play
would
it.
do that though? Like that's fucked up.
I don't
They've
think
done it
they
before.
would do that.
They've done it before.
They've
As
done
it
it
stands
before.
as it stands right now, I don't think they would do that.
Well, I mean,
hope
keep in
not.
mind though that this is the first generation ever we're going from x86 to x86, right? And before they went from cell architecture and literally had to put a lot of work into porting games to PS4, and I get why they would charge for that, but to simply patch stuff like you'll see Last of Us 2 and Shiitake Mushrooms patched, right? Patched for PS5. Like I just don't see him saying give us $5 or $10 for this patch.
No, not for a first party game, but
the
it's
way they
third
worded
party.
it,
Yeah, not for a first party game. I agree
No,
with
it's
that.
the
Yeah.
it's the EA and the Activision and all these other companies who can resell the game to bring it up to your
I
console.
would think that the cost would have to come at a certain point to the hardware owner, to PlayStation, and they're not going to want to cover that. And obviously, EA is going to want to sell as many copies with as much of a margin as they possibly can. So,
Well, like Bill was
Great
saying
point.
last show, he's like he founded the back compat team on Xbox, and he was saying that before publishers were thinking that, hey, this could possibly hurt the sales of my current game or my new game or take away in some way. I don't think I want to make my game back compat on the Xbox One, but it was really Bethesda that pushed this with Fallout 4 and the free copy of Fallout 3 and helped them a lot. And once they saw that, and once Rockstar jumped on with the original Red Dead and saw the 1,000% increase in sales, then everybody started piling on. It only benefited. I feel like that's a massive incentive for a platform and only serves as a reason to buy one, not something that Sony would say that's a cost to us and that it takes away.
yeah,
But I mean, this is all contingent on the fact that these third party games will go forward and work on the PS5. I'm with Alanah in that I don't know if that's going to be the case because I mean, time will tell. We're going to see if that'll happen. But at this point, I mean, I could see them, making a new version for the PS5,
right? But
because I mean, first party, I don't see them charging for their patches and stuff. But she's 100% right when she's talking about how these third parties, this money, where's it going to come from? If they're going to need to make a whole new version. I mean,
it should just be a simple, like I said, they're on the same machine language.
it's
Well,
still
yeah,
gonna
but
be
they gotta
backwards
time and
compatible.
money.
It runs on PC though. Like generally, that's the way that they built their architecture. So it's easier to do. I think for PlayStation, it's a little bit harder in the first place.
Yeah, they're using like a hardware-based back compat. Xbox is using an emulator. Expert
for
Lizard,
2
by the
years,
way, he says,
Microsoft-
great show, you guys. Nice to see Alanah here. Also, Fable is my favorite IP. Can't wait. Thank you so much.
Hell yes.
Well,
Hell
what
yes.
Alanah just said about the architecture, like it makes sense. Like that's something that Xbox is using to their strength, right? Like software is a big strength of theirs. So yeah, they're going to use it against the competition. So it makes sense when they emphasize back compat. They're the ones, right? When Cyberpunk tweeted that thing saying people shouldn't have to buy two versions of the same game, like Xbox is right there advertising that on their Twitter. It's a business play. That's what this is. And it's a good thing because I like when two companies compete with each other, right? Like they're billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar companies competing for our dollar, and we want the most consumer-friendly shit to go our way.
I mean,
So
isn't that
I
why
like
the
that
Xbox is
stuff.
made fun of, right? They're being made fun of right now because they're being held back by the Xbox One. I mean, that's the whole thing that's
I think
going
they're
on
being
right
made
now.
fun of because there's like a lack of first-party games.
I'm
I
blaming
think
Super
Of
Legacy
course,
Tale.
but I mean, going
But it's
forward,
still,
that like
they
everybody's
do get
upset.
made
with
fun
that.
of, and I find it really frustrating for like, oh, well, you don't have any exclusives if they're also on PC. And I keep being like, why are you seeing
like,
that
who
as a
gives a
negative?
fuck?
More people get the thing.
Yeah.
This is a positive for
Plus
you.
get it
Why,
free.
why do you
Alanah,
care?
you see it, right? You see that Sony are going the same direction, right? With games recently announced for PC like Horizon Zero Dawn. They've had their job listings with PSN saying Ring games on every device. Jim Ryan knows what makes money. And they also signed a memorandum with Microsoft to basically work with them for their streaming. Like, they've had their games on Samsung TVs, PlayStation TV. I mean, they don't give a fuck. You know, they want to make money like everyone else. Like, do you see that, or is that a crazy thought?
No. I think you're right. I don't think they're gonna go as extreme as Xbox have, because they don't have to, because they're in the lead in terms of sales right now. That's the way that this kind of stuff works. The history repeats itself. But I do feel like, you know, it's on the entire audience to put pressure on PlayStation to do more of this stuff, because like when Death Stranding got announced for PC, people were so angry. PlayStation gamers were so mad because they feel like they're losing an exclusive, and I'm like, but more people get access to that game.
But how do you live through life if you don't vindicate your plastic, Alanah? That's what I want to know.
It's so frustrating.
It didn't leave the console. That's the
Yeah.
But it's trash now because it's on PC. You see?
Nope,
Not
Phil
an
Spencer
exclusive
walked
anymore.
into
It's trash now.
their
And I-
PlayStation and installed it and everything.
And I think Sony really wants to release most of their games on PC, and they're trying to like ease it in because they know there's gonna be a backlash from a.
Jim Ryan
portion
said that
of
in his
the
last
fan base.
statement, right? And then Shuhei pops up and says, well, success isn't meant to be judged based off hardware sales. And we're sitting there talking about how Wife Bill and Microsoft are talking about active users, right? That's why.
Well, here's my assumption from that, right? Is like the hardware is not what they want that success to be defined on. It's PS Plus. They want as many people on their hardware as possible because they want as many PS Plus subscriptions as they can possibly get in a month, because subscription services, as every entertainment industry is showing right now, is the best way to make money.
Yeah.
You have
That
constant
and you're,
returns
you know,
who aren't even necessarily using anything. So it's not even that they want to sell PlayStations. They probably just want as many platforms as is physically possible to be able to have PS Plus. They probably do want PS Plus to be on PC at some point, because that is more people all around the world. That it's just that ecosystem has changed, and I think because Microsoft is already such a big part of the PC ecosystem. I feel like I just said ecosystem 4 times.
It's okay.
But because they're already such a big part of that, they understand it. Whereas I feel like Sony's had to catch up a little bit.
Well, we talked to Bill about this as well. We've been saying this for months on the show, that like Microsoft are leveraging global gaming unlike anyone else right now. They get the high-end model of the Xbox coming. We know there's a low-end model at some point. They'll announce that. They get everything on PC. They get Game Pass console, Game Pass PC. On top of that, xCloud, right? Like, that's the thing. Is like when you can sign in on your cell phone into your Xbox Live account and stream a game from a store that you just bought, you get rid of that barrier to entry. And that's what Bill really harped on too when we mentioned this. Is Sony wants the same thing where you sign in, you got PS Plus on your cell phone, get an active user that possibly buys games, and then maybe decides, hey, I want to take this further. I'm going to go buy the hardware, play it locally. I want to go bigger with this. Like, that's really the key.
They for sure want their storefront on as many things as possible, because right now you still have, you know, most of these companies, the third-party publishers are getting, or rather the first parties are taking 30% from the third parties for every sale. So if I'm going to buy FIFA, then obviously Sony wants me to buy it from them. If I can buy it on every different piece of hardware, of course they're like, well, we want you to buy it from us. Oh, you don't have a PlayStation? Is there a way you can buy it from us on PC on their storefront so they can make 30% off one of the best-selling games ever? Like, I feel like that is the future we're headed towards, is a competition for digital storefronts more than hardware.
Yeah. Yeah, and those, I think things like Game Pass and PS Now will actually be the thing that create more exclusive ecosystem content than anything, because they want to lure you over and get that subscription, right?
For sure, yeah.
But either way, guys, shout out to the chat. Again, let us know your thoughts as we do go. Almost 1,700 people watching live, guys. Hit that like button. Share this out for us. Help us out a little bit. We do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And Luca, I mean, you were saying over and over, and I agree with you. I don't think Sony will just go let third parties charge for patches. That's fine. Everyone's got their own opinion, but I definitely agree with what you were saying. What were you getting at there?
Yeah, I just don't think it would set a good precedent. I think there would be a lot of backlash for it. And given what the recent backlash with the whole Fortnite situation and not allowing crossplay and certain things like that, I just can't imagine and fathom they would do something to alienate their consumers like that, especially if the competition is like, hey, you guys, you buy Cyberpunk here, you can get it here and upgrade and it's all good and you don't have to worry about it being charged or anything. I just can't imagine that they would do that. I mean, but
it's
that's
extremely anti-consumer.
Yeah,
and
it is.
They're kind of doing it right now, Luca.
Wasn't there a period of time where they charged for PS Plus, but Xbox Live was free? Wasn't that a thing? Or
No, it was the opposite. And we've talked over and over about how Xbox needed to get rid of that free-to-play paywall,
right?
too.
Yeah.
And that was like a hugely controversial decision, but they were like, but we're winning, so what do we care?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, PS3 online was pretty trash, too.
Right now, Sony is charging you PlayStation Now service to play PS3 games, but if you're on Xbox, some of those games are included with back compat. So everything's not the same across both platforms.
Well, that's different though. That's like a port up to the like Battlefront 2 on PS4. That's not the OG version. That's actually a version that runs at a high resolution and everything.
What you're talking about, cross generation?
No, like Battlefront 2, like the old version from back in the day. You can play that on PS4 and actually download it and buy it. I think it's like $15, but it actually runs at like 1080p and stuff. Like they've actually put work into it. That's a little different than the back.
That's kind of like a remaster, almost like
a little bit, yeah.
So yeah, everything's not the same. But I wanted to say earlier, I tried to say it earlier, but Microsoft has opened that door for developers or publishers to charge for cross-gen ports.
Okay,
so it's not just Sony.
I think it would be weird.
Microsoft
Like Cyberpunk is coming out in like September, and then the new consoles are supposedly coming out in November, and it's like we're going to charge $5 to $10 for a 2-month upgrade.
Rockstar did it, man.
Shit, that's Rockstar.
Well, that was like a port though, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
they had to go from PowerPC architecture to x86. Like, there's work there. I get that, but
and they added more shit like first-person view and a couple other shit. Like
they did cash in though. You're right.
Supposedly Sony has.
I don't remember.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, well, supposedly Sony has, and it's rumored they have something called Jump Ahead, which is similar to Smart Delivery.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing I found curious is in the investors report when they referred to this, they referred to it as a different SKU for PlayStation 5. Which would, you would think, but the way people combated that was saying that because it was a marketing deal that they couldn't announce that. But I don't know if this is a type of thing where if smart delivery is a component of software emulation that Microsoft does with Xbox, that might be something that's a feather in their cap, because as we know, Sony uses hardware emulation to do their backwards compatibility. So you'll get the game. What I'm thinking, you'll just get the PlayStation 4 Pro version, whereas with the smart delivery, you can actually get the assets on the PC. But that's, again, we have to hear from Microsoft, and we have to from Sony to see what they're doing. I'm sure that they have some type of
quiet, Tim, dog.
Oh my gosh.
They got tape around their mouth right now. So they're in a basement
even when they
somewhere.
do talk, they talk really low.
Leave Cerny alone, Fonz. Hey, Nightwolf, by the way, says thank you so much, Alanah, for coming on to RDX. And thanks to the RDX for continuously evolving, being the best show. Thank you so much, sir. Everyone's got their own opinion. I'm glad that's yours. Fonz, what you saying?
Oh, no. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing of importance.
Great use of time there.
Just everybody needs to send Cerny a pick of their ears, because, they really want it for some reason. So,
yeah, leave Mark Cerny alone.
Yeah, leave Mark Cerny alone.
I love him, okay? Can we not bully him?
My boy Mark will shoot laser beams into your face.
AKA Dana Carvey. Shut up.
Dana Carvey. All right. Well, either way, I mean, Colt, you were kind of talking about the back compat situation, how things are kind of similar, but not, and there are variable situations that are slightly different, and I get what you're saying, man.
Yeah, it's just not going to be the same. The back compat situation alone is going to be different next generation.
It will.
So yeah, it's all different. So
didn't they say that developers might have to tune their game on back compat with PS5 if it's not running right? Like, that's not the case on Xbox, right?
Yeah, it's totally different. So, but I mean, I would hope that as a gaming community, we can, make some type of notice for these publishers to do the right thing for both consoles, and make sure that if they can patch a game up to run on the new console, that they just come up or this cross-gen stuff. It's kind of all a mess. But like you said, this is the first time where the architecture is the same. There isn't like a block off. There isn't like a wall that holds off last generation from current generation. There's 3,000 games on the Xbox 360 and PS3 that don't, 500 of them came up to the Xbox One. You know, there's so many that didn't come up.
But they did kind of emphasize, like, look, you can probably expect all these day one. They said thousands of games day one on the Series X. So
I think the difference between the two of them is the API level that Microsoft has. They have all the experience with the PC, so it's nothing. The developers are used to coding for Microsoft. So the advantages in the API division, and I think it's also going to bode well for the Xbox Series X. I think Microsoft's really going to shine this generation. With all the work they've done in the PC field, I think it's
paying off.
Yeah.
It's like their back compat one. That's why they were bragging about back compat for Xbox One so much. It freed them up not to be limited by the needs of their previous software for their future hardware. They can do whatever they want. We reported way before the reveal of PS5 that we're hearing they are using hardware-based backwards compatibility. They can have 36 CU or 52. Right now, that's what they were limited to, because of the way the increments of the compute units. And apparently that's exactly what's going on. Ashtray, shout out to you, buddy. One of my favorite friends from Australia. Thank you for becoming a channel member.
Mate.
Okay, yeah, good. Alanah's she ain't been there in a minute, Australia. Don't think she's one of you. She's in America now, Australia, okay? She's been here for a while. No, but shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for becoming a channel member. When's the last time you've been to Australia, Alanah?
I went home for Christmas.
Oh, shit. Not long ago.
Yeah, fun fact also, you probably don't know, I worked for Xbox Australia for 2 years before I worked at IGN San Francisco.
Well, there you go. You had your own little, you had your foot in the door.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's good fun.
You kick the door open and throw a flashbang in. I'm here. Let's go ahead and move forward a little. Alanah, there's been a lot going on with the PS5 and the next Xbox. We all know the power difference is it's pretty decent delta there. We've got a Killzone developer coming on next week. He's talked about hearing about a pretty staggering difference between the two. Your thoughts on the reveal of Series X, the way they went about that, and the PlayStation 5, and perhaps what you think the difference would be there, as long or short as you want to be there.
I feel like we've still got a lot more revealing to do. The way that they revealed, I was at the Game Awards when they kind of announced the new console, and I definitely didn't expect it. But I think when the approach seems to be, especially lately, that consoles are going to be a bit more iterative. When we're going to get an X and we're going to get a Pro, and they're going to keep giving us sort of mid-cycle consoles more often. I think that having less grand presentations about them makes more sense. We'll probably get a lot more updates a lot more frequently, especially when there are more updates to that hardware, just software updates all the time. I feel like I think this is kind of the future that we have to get used to. But I still feel like I have a lot of questions about both consoles. There's still a lot that I don't think I know. So I feel like I'm sort of waiting for the extra events where we get more information. And maybe that's just because I've trained my brain at this point to expect this high spectacle thing that maybe we won't get because they're not approaching it that way now. Especially this year, though, it's a very weird year to reveal consoles. I've done a couple of game preview events as media where they're done over Discord. Which is a really weird way to preview a game because you can't get your hands on anything right now. So I'm wondering what they're going to do about hardware if everyone's still locked inside for the rest of the year. That's going to be completely have ruined all of the marketing plans these companies had. I was at Xbox Australia when the Xbox One came out, and we had Master Chief on a speedboat underneath the Sydney Harbour Bridge come to the event to deliver someone the first Xbox One. Like, you do this like crazy stuff that now they kind of can't do. So I really don't know what's gonna happen.
We know Master Chief's old. The Master Chief's old as fuck. Did he have a beard hanging out of the bottom of his helmet?
Yeah, I think he shaved for the occasion.
Oh, man.
He got him cleaned up.
What about the Xbox One X? I watched your Origins coverage over on the Xbox One X in 2017, and you had to actually go somewhere and play that, right?
Yeah, and that's what is usually done for this kind of stuff is you go to an event and you get to try it for the first time yourself. But because they can't do that this year, I'm worried that they're going to have to do what PlayStation did with the PlayStation Pro event, which I think Ryan McCaffrey also covered for IGN, so we only heard about it secondhand, where they're streaming games that in the room they say look beautiful, but for everyone who's watching on a stream, you can't see that over a stream because it doesn't work that way. Yeah. So you can't really get the sell. I just feel like hardware marketing this year, particularly, they're just going to have to completely rewrite everything and change the game 100%.
It just doesn't come across over YouTube or
you just can't tell. And especially for people who have really bad internet connections, like it's just not a good way to have a console sold to you because you don't have an understanding. What my guess is that they're probably going to ship certain reviewers hardware and then or travel with them. So I have had that happen before, where a developer will come to you in person to show you a game on a PC that they have locked in a case that they then take with them or whatever. So maybe we'll have like people from Microsoft.
Are you getting the Series X, Alanah? Just tell us.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I mean early.
Oh, I don't know. Don't know about that. Probably. I feel like
she's rubbing hers right now. I don't know.
It's like, I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
Can't wait to
what they will do is they'll ship a Series X to somebody that hates a big influencer that hates Xbox. They do that every year.
Hey, well, kill them with kindness, Cole.
Yeah, I agree.
That and they may or may not explode if they beat their first game on it. We don't know.
We just might get people from Microsoft traveling to people in person with these cases to show them off, and it's going to be such a weird way to have a console launch for sure. It's going to be really difficult for them to figure out how to get through to their audiences when they can't show them off the same way they used to.
You are right though. These games don't come across over the internet like they do in like the footage I'm using on the podcast now is RE3 on the 1X at damn near 4K or close enough, right? And it's being streamed right now in 1080p at 10 megs per second upload, right? And that it just doesn't there's no HDR. It's just night and day. There's so many bottlenecks through displays and connections. You really do have to see some of the stuff for yourself, especially after this game got patched. Like we were saying the week before this game got patched, why does this game run at 4K when they knew the performance was fucking trash? Why did it not drop the resolution to the same as the last game, which is exactly what they did to fix it? Turns out we were spot on there. And the frame rate is the best of any console now. And it just sucks that you had to wait a week or two to get that. I don't understand it, but either way, I mean, the game did sell 2 million copies in 5 days. Have you played Resident Evil 3 Remake?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I do remember seeing one of your videos about that, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. But I also want to say, like, I had the same issue with RE2, which I absolutely love. I finished that game even when it was still having the performance problems, but, like, the frame rate drops. I still don't have the achievement for finishing it because the achievements glitched, and I also went through and got like most of the collectibles and don't have the achievements for them because they had a massive glitch on week 1. Like that stuff sucks.
Yeah. If you load it right now, it'll pop up. They had a recent patch. Yeah, you just load it.
Damn achievements! How dare you?
Yeah, we were hearing about performance issues before it came out, and for a game you work on for 5 years, it's really unfortunate.
Such a good game that missed the. There. If they had that game, really, I mean, the game was wonderful, and that was a lot of takeaway was
Tim Dog's mic is cutting out. That's the takeaway.
Otherwise, it's very good.
Decepticons attack.
Decepticons attack. In either case, Luca, you haven't played Resident Evil 3, have you?
No, I'm scared.
It's okay. Cole really is enjoying it. He just beat the game, right, Cole?
Yeah. I put like 11 hours into it. Like, what took so long? I don't know. I just went back and forth. I got lost a lot, and I took my time.
Cole, we were in parties, and then there'll be something. He's like, "Yeah, so you, oh God, what the game?" He starts yelling and screaming. I'm like, "All right, Cole, you're all right." He's like,
"Yeah, I don't normally play." Yeah, I don't normally play games like that, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I don't know. I got into it. Like, I crept around hallways like really slowly a lot of times, and just really I really liked it a lot.
But what is it? Was it as good as Doom Eternal?
Doom Eternal. You played Doom. I saw Alana's early coverage on Doom Eternal.
That game came out.
That game's amazing.
Yeah, I loved it.
So
Alana, tell me you're playing it on OLED.
Right?
What was the question, Luca?
The platforming. You a big fan of that?
Oh God, I was so bad at the platforming.
Really?
But I'm bad at platforming in every game though. It's like my one weakness is I'm just terrible at platforming. My brain just can't do it. But I hated it in Doom Eternal. But everything else, I thought that game ruled.
Really? I actually don't like first-person platforming, but I actually liked Doom Eternal's implementation. I thought they did it the best. It was really good, solid.
I guess like part of my beef with it was that I didn't like the way that it broke up the pacing of the game. I prefer to just be shooting more stuff. Yeah, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer to that. I think it's definitely just a preference thing from, people do lean really heavily one way or the other. I don't think I've met anyone who was like, thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Arkham. It's kind of like Arkham, where Arkham you're doing the free flow combat, and then you're doing a little exploration, and then you're doing a predator room, and it's like, because of that breakup, it makes each of those things better to me. But I get what you're saying. There is no like Jez Corden, Windows Central. He didn't like it. Platforming is iffy there.
The only real turnoff for me in that game was that last boss you had to fight. I just I didn't care for it. It's kind of one of those cheesy, just kind of bullet
In
spongy
Eternal?
type.
Eternal.
Yeah, Eternal.
Yeah,
the
it
big-
took me like a 45 minutes straight, just
Yeah.
not from dying, just because I was backtracking so much to get things. Like it took me a
Mhm.
really long time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, in either case, chat, let us know what you thought of Doom Eternal.
Great game though. Solid game.
I actually loved it. It looked gorgeous on OLED. I mean, the game just looked crazy. Resident Evil 4 Remake reportedly coming, by the way, for those that are curious about RE3. Really enjoyed RE3, RE4, hopefully that happens. I want that to happen, Alanah.
I want one as well, though. Like I know they remade that pretty recently, but I want it to get this treatment because, yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 4 is my favorite. I love that game. I'm so happy for all these remakes. I just tweeted yesterday that I wish that Konami would just let Capcom remake Silent Hill 2 in this same way.
Nicely called them cowards, right?
Yes, I did. It's not going to happen, but God, I wish it'd be so good.
I mean, yeah, this is the way they're doing these remakes and reimaginings, like this game here on screen. Even like again, Colt was surprised and he wasn't excited for the game at all. Like very impressive.
It won me over.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got to ask. I've got to ask Alanah though. Speaking of remakes, are you playing Final Fantasy VII remake at all?
Yeah, that is also fantastic, and that one I think
Yes, it is.
almost doesn't really fit in a really weird way. It almost transcends the remake conversation for me because
it does.
feels like such a completely different experience. It
Thank
doesn't
you.
even feel like I'm playing the same game.
Let me ask you a question though. I
Thank
got
you.
to because I always call Fonz a weirdo. What do you think about that hot tub scene?
Dealer.
Like
In
there's
the
a lot of
original.
questionable shit going on.
Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah, but you know what? It happens in these types of games, these JRPGs. A lot of stuff happens.
Fonz
It's
said he
just
was going to
weird.
boycott
But
the
you know
game if
what?
the hot tub scene wasn't in there. So.
I absolutely love the original, and this remake is just incredible to me. Like there's so much new in it that this whole question of should it be $60 is just moot. It's ridiculous to me. It's
Well,
worth the price of
When
admission.
we had
This
the,
section is
the
40-hour
episode
game,
thing,
though?
yeah, I mean, but that was really confusing to me, and I feel like maybe they just marketed it poorly, and that they were like, well, if you're only getting a slice of the game, how are they charging for it? But now that I've
Yeah.
seen it, I'm like, well, no, it's actually just that they've split it into 2 games. It's not like you're only getting episode 1 and then episode 2, like they kind of told us. It's like
Mhm.
this is a full game that has been drawn out into like 3 books, kind of thing.
Is it
but
is it
still
only 2
completely a
games
full
though,
game.
or is it like how many games is it now?
I don't think we
We don't know
actually
yet.
know.
I think it's like
Yeah.
$200
know.
something dollars worth of game. By the time
We don't
you buy
know,
it
but
all.
I mean, this is only in Midgar, and it's like 35 hours. It's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy.
It's insane.
Oh,
It's got
man.
really good HDR too, surprisingly.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful,
dope.
especially on the OLED.
He
Beautiful.
lied to
Definitely
me.
on the OLED.
Hey, Svitterman, he says, Pearce, miss your take on Podcast Unlock and Xbox News. Really enjoyed those takes. I guess you just kind of left IGN, and that's why you're no longer there on the show, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So there was nothing that happened behind the scenes.
No, not at all. Like we've tried to have me on that show again because like I love doing it. It was my highlight of the week, pretty much every
Did
week.
IGN stiff arm you or what? What happened?
No, it's just that scheduling never worked out. So every time that I've tried to, it was like I had something or they had something. But I might reach out now because everyone's at home. It might be a
Yeah.
good time to get back on Unlocked. But no, definitely have very positive relationships with those folks. I still text Ryan all the time. When we saw the Halo reveal at E3, I was literally crying. And Ryan was
What?
the first person I texted, and I was like, Ryan, what did you think? Oh my god!
Hashtag kill lock. Well, tell Ryan we say hi. And also, Alanah says hi to everybody watching live. If you haven't,
All right.
hit that like button. Share this out for us, guys. Helps out a little bit. And shout out to everyone throwing super chats in that I can't possibly get to. And everyone saying hi to me in the chat. Thanks so much. As we move forward to... Alanah, have you covered Gears Tactics at all or played it in any way or anything
I
like that
just
yet?
got a code today.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah, can
Well-
you send it to me real quick?
Yeah, sure,
I
no
want to
worries.
make sure it works.
No, I have not played it. Obviously, I'm familiar with it, but yeah, I just got a code today. They said embargo's the 26th, so that's when you'll be seeing reviews.
So we'll have to check it out then. I know a few people that are playing it behind the scenes, but I mean, we've been keeping up with it. It's odd. Rand Althor mentioned this to me today that the team behind they released a new XCOM game at like $20, and they announced it
Did
like
you just say Rand Althor?
Rand Althor.
Like
19.
from Wheel of Time?
No, he said on Phil Spencer's lap at E3.
Yeah, he got the name.
Okay, it was like you're friends with the guy from the.
Yeah,
from
well,
the-
he took the name from the book. Yeah.
We got the name from the book.
Hey,
But he's the man with
He
the
got his
million.
no,
name from
shout
the
out,
book.
Rand, like we're best friends with
clip
Rand.
this
Rand's a
part?
good buddy, and he's the one who
Oh, the
actually
Barbarian? You good
he's the
friends with
one who
Barbarian?
actually leaked the Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC thing. So he's a good, smart guy, and he's you know
He got a
he
million achievements at E3 while holding hands.
Oh
So
yeah,
executive is
very
that
cool.
guy.
yeah.
Sitting on the labs.
But Gears Tactics, you know, he told me that there's a new XCOM game coming out, Zucker. Did you hear about that? They announced it, and they're going to drop it right before Gears Tactics come out.
Yep, it's like a little spin-off that like they were just like, fuck it, throw it out there.
What the
And
fuck
so,
is
I
up
don't
with
know.
that, though? Like, they just announced it, and it's already coming out.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They just decided to bring it out. A lot of people were hyped for it, but everybody was saying that they're like, yeah, I'm kind of looking more forward to Gears Tactics to me, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to play Gears Tactics. Don't give it to Colt if you're gonna give the code out, please. He's gonna play it for 10 seconds and run
the
away.
code out. It's her
I'm
code.
trying-
You
know
know
she's
she's going to
not.
play. She might play for an hour. You never know.
Do
She might,
you play those? Alanah, do you play those type of games very often?
Yes.
Like,
I love
Yep, there we
XCOM.
go.
Yeah. I'm super into it, but naturally I am embargoed and cannot comment on Gears Tactics.
cannot comment on the fact that you haven't downloaded it yet. But
No,
you're well
no.
on your way. Either
Yeah,
way, I
right.
mean, we're looking forward to it. I mean, I'm waiting for the console version. I'm more of a console gamer, but still, I mean, I get it. If you like, you know, certain other people got to play it on PC to review it early. Tim Dog, I'm gonna come to you for this one here. With the Xbox doing 2 events, we happen to know that's actually gonna happen, and apparently, yeah, there's 2 different events, kind of in 2 different flavors. They're gonna demo some very technically impressive games. Tim Dog, what do you have to say?
Well, I think it all ties into what Shinobi said, and I hate to say it, even that 4chan leak that is
For
sitting
once,
in my
4chan got
DM.
something right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, 4chan usually it was when with the T flops, it was like 13.3 every other day. But I came home and I had a DM sitting in a thing from somebody who pretty, you know, he's a pretty well-known person with that 4chan leak. And I read the leak and I was like, wow, this kind of lines up with everything we've been hearing. And sure enough, I think we're going to have you know, 2 events. I think that's definitely going to happen in May or early May. I think we're going to get you know, we need a lot of questions answered. I think Lockhart, if you're going to hear about it, it's going to be there.
Yep.
I do think that they'll showcase some games. I think the game narrative, originally it was supposed to be April before COVID.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Before this whole crazy ass virus stuff was hitting, Lockhart and all that. That's why I tweeted out about that, because we were hearing it was gonna be very soonly revealed, and all that stuff got pushed back because of this crazy stuff going on. And as Bill talked about last week, like, they don't exactly know what the hell's happening yet. Like, everything's in flux, right? They don't know. People are concerned about the dollar and their well-being as much as they are bored and want to buy Doom Eternal, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much stuff that's in flux. And Lockhart, you're right, Tim. If it's going to be there, we're hearing it's more of a hardware-related show anyway for this upcoming one in a few weeks or whatever. That's definitely the place to do it, right?
Yeah, and I think you'll see some games. I think you might a particular game. I don't know for, you know, I do think that it's pretty safe to say that you're gonna have 2 events. One's gonna be hardware, which would have been originally the April. And from what I heard from when pre-COVID, that they were going to go really hard on games because, you know, as Alanah and everyone talks about that, they've been getting killed on the games narrative, especially with what Sony has been pushing out. So I heard that they were going to, you know, push it all out, go for broke. And I think that's you're going to see a lot of games in the next couple of months. You're going to see a lot of games, and I also think that you're going to be happy with some of the things that you see. You know, you're not going to see all cartoon, you know, these cartoon graphics that people keep talking about. I think they're going to see some realistic games. Perfect Dark was one of the games that we talked about earlier, which is going to be, I think, a realistic look. And I think we're in for a good 2 months for sure. I mean, now it's like becoming more and more known. Jez just tweeted Bay is going to be a fun month. You know, a lot of people are backing this particular two 2-show rumor, so I think it's pretty much going to happen.
I have to say though, like the rumor of them showing the hardware with games, I am so happy to hear that because I know Alanah Pearce is best homies with Mark Cerny, but that dude just sitting there talking for 30 minutes literally was like NyQuil.
Well, it wasn't, it's a little more developed.
It's a weird choice in that they
I know
shouldn't have Sony ever present anything to the public. It should be to devs, because that's what his thing is. Like, he gives great talks to GDC, like stuff like that. But audiences, Sony is not your hype man. It's not gonna work.
What? My man Cerny is the best hype man. I gotta ask you a question though. This is the most important thing I've asked you.
Yes.
What are those people in the crowd cardboard?
No.
Did you notice? They look like cardboard cutouts.
No, they were moving.
They move.
I don't think so, but can't confirm.
Oh man,
No, I saw moving. I saw them scratching their nose at times. Like
Someone could do that.
maybe they, it was maybe half and half. Come on now.
But they
Yeah,
look like still though.
It reminded me of Mystery Science 3000.
I've added you as a moderator too, Alanah, just because I like to add all kind of special guests like Yabara and other people have been on the show. I add them as moderators, Ricari, just so, because Blue Wrench is power. We all know this.
Yeah, I actually liked Cerny's talk. I just think that them putting a tweet out like right after Xbox came out with something, and people were expecting something different. But as soon as I saw it, it was like Mark Cerny. I was like, oh, this is going to be very dry and technical, and I was prepared for it going in. And others were not. So
my man Cerny rocked it. All right, leave him alone. But I mean, Tim. So I think you wrapped it up quite nicely there. I think that is definitely legitimate. And the first event, possibly more related to hardware, with some games there to show off the hardware. That's what we need, man. We've been asking for these big games for years, and Alanah nailed it right when we asked her the first thing. Like, what do they need to do? They need these big games. We need something in the ring with God of War, because right now Kate is outside the ring, next to the ring, and then we got Super Lucky Tail in the crowd. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been saying it for years.
Hellblade 2. Someone in the chat just mentioned that. I am really excited about Hellblade 2.
Hellblade 2 looks good. Awesome. Yeah.
Mara. I gotta say this though, I'm really excited to see the games finally coming from Microsoft, because if you just look at what they've been doing the last 2 years, like we already said in the beginning of the show, Rockstar devs, EA devs, Naughty Dog devs, like they got the top talent in the industry all working over there at their studios. I can't wait to see what these games are gonna look like. I think they're gonna blow our fucking minds off, man.
Let me get this. Let me get the super chat real quick so I don't fucking miss it. Teo Zucchi, he says, so RDX ban. Who's playing? Oh my God, this is from Twitter. He says, who's playing what instrument? Sorry, Zucker, we know where you go, question mark. Great. Great panel. I'm fun. Yeah, Zucker, you go on the floor. But if you noticed, I moved it so you're not on the floor today, buddy.
I know. I noticed I'm not on the floor sitting there eating toast. I'm chilling. I'm on the fucking couch hanging out.
Yeah, you're allowed to, sit up here with us. Usually when we have this many guests, Zucker's name disappears off the screen, Alanah.
Got it. I was like, I don't get this, but it seems entertaining.
Yes. Also, shout out to that guy, P Money, for becoming a channel member. Thank you so much. And a bunch of other people that have. I'm sorry, I can't get to everybody. But either way, I mean, ideally, Fonzarelli, 2 big events. Maybe the first one focuses on hardware. This is what our hardware can do, ray tracing on and off, the difference between maybe the old version and the new version, Lockhart. And also, let's talk about maybe something like some of their new IPs that are big, graphically beautiful blockbusters that we've been asking for. But the second one is, let's think of it as more their E3. What are you hoping to see at that hardware-based or hardware-centered event maybe in a couple weeks?
I'd like to see them show off the power of Grounded. I want to see what that can do. No, I'm just kidding. It's a hardware event. I just want them to, we basically seen the hardware already. I mean, we kind of know what's going on there. There's been so many videos put out. I mean, Austin Evans had his video where he took a deep dive in there. You had, I
mean, what games though? What do you hope to see them leverage on screen?
Second event.
Are they really at the second event? So not the hardware event, the gaming event. I want to see something big. I want to see, at least give me some mature IP. I'm tired of seeing like Grounded and Sea of Thieves types.
Somebody did bring up Hellblade 2, and yeah, it looks great, but we need more.
Hellblade 2, yeah. Show me more of that. That'd be great. Let me see more of that.
Let's see some
gameplay.
those games everyone's harping on are Xbox One generation games. Like Microsoft knows
but
that they, that this generation didn't pan out. They didn't have the funding midway through the generation, which puts us right now.
But the
at
thing
the end
is,
of generation with nothing ready to deliver. So everything that I was hoping they would show, let's say 2 or 3 big things I wanted them to show at E3 2019, they made that decision to not show those games at E3 2019 and wait to push a whole new generation, wipe the slate clean. Because I don't care who you are, I don't care how much of an Xbox fan you are, how much of an Xbox hater you are. Everyone is in agreement that they need to show more big games. They need to fill out that variety with mature games.
True,
it's the only thing they're missing.
But that's true. But this is the problem, though. When you have 3 events and you have one hardware, and then this next one, and then you got kind of like an E3 event. The E3 event is where you want to show the big new IP, right?
I think they're going to show that
they
hardware
show?
reveal, honestly.
So what
they're
are they
show
going to show
that stuff? And sometime in May. I won't even say like how close or what the. I won't even tell you what day it is. But they're going to.
I'm just excited to see something.
You have to. They're going to have to show them Lockhart, that it exists, and what the Xbox Series X and what these games will do with the hardware. And you don't talk about the hardware that much. You let the game speak for itself. And the sucky thing is, like Alanah said, it's got to be on a stream. And I don't care how great your internet looks. A stream looks crappy in motion.
Yeah.
How about this? How about
Hellblade?
Hellblade 2?
Never good enough.
How about Hellblade 2 not at 24 frames per second?
Yeah.
Okay. How about gameplay, actual gamelay?
Yeah.
Well, we know that Hellblade will run at 60.
Oh, of course.
Slipbane, hang on one second. Let me get this Slipbane 4K. Since it says send a picture of your ears. Love the show. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cole, how do you feel about the fact that Series X, Hellblade 2, and potentially Super Lucky Tail 3 is going to be held back by the iPhone 3GS? Go.
I say it all the time. I love it. Yeah, obviously it's not going to get held back, but yeah, they need to show. I don't know if they're ready to show what Hellblade looks like, behind the controller, but I know they're excited to show this supposed Fable game, and it's time to show. We're going to see Halo in motion finally. So
I think you saved that
talked
Fable.
to an
I think
executive
that they're not
last
gonna...
year that said that they showed Halo 6 months or a year too early for what they wanted to do for timing. What they want to do is right before launch, months before launch, they want to show Halo gameplay. They don't want to show it earlier. So they put themselves in the position in E3 2019 where everyone wanted to see Halo gameplay.
I know who says that, but at the same time, Naughty Dog disagrees because they showed all Last of Us years ago.
I know.
Hey, Kimmy Guy, by the way, I'll ask you this, Cole. Kimmy Guy wants to know, do you think that, this whole macaroni virus is going to affect some sales?
Sales of hardware or games?
Everything. Like, Doom Eternal apparently did really, really well compared to the last one, and RE just did 2 million.
I think
positively.
Yeah, I think the opposite. I think
everyone answered that, but Colt. Colt, what do you think is going to affect sales?
I'm going to say what D's going to say. I think that gamers still want to spend that money and buy it, and hopefully, as we get into the summertime, that our personal finances haven't taken such a hit where we feel like we can't enjoy gaming. But Phil Spencer said that even when we're in an economic downturn, when we were in a recession, and like he said in 2008, people were still buying hardware and buying games and playing games. Like, gamers love the hobby that much. And when you love something, people still go out. They go out and spend money in hunting and golf and whatever adults do, but we play games.
Yeah, the same thing happened with the tragedy in 2001. People, gamers, there was a spike in game buying and stuff because people want to escape from reality. With
this is a little different, man. You're stuck inside for weeks at a time, like fighting your cat with a sword.
It's video games and Pornhub.
Okay. Well, now we know what Alana's doing.
Damn right.
You're both way up.
She said video games and club. Okay.
Facts.
Well,
D's enthusiasm.
Hey, Mike Trinzongo says, what about the possibility of Crysis or Rise 2? Again, that Crytek account, the Crysis account came back to life. It defibed itself. I don't know. Xbox did reply.
A lot of accounts replied though. So
you know what? Luca? Why ruin the hype train, huh?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
It'd be the perfect fix for the Xbox Series X, really, because they said they want to set the benchmark, and what better game to set the benchmark than a new a new version of Crysis. And I've always been a big fan of Crytek. Like their games, okay, there's some holes in their games. I'm not going to say that there's not, but their technology and their games are beautiful. They're a little generic, but I think, with Microsoft's help, they could
Oh, you got to talk shit for D, huh?
And I think the time is right for them to do something like this. I think it would work, and I hope this is the case, man.
Luca, do you think sales will be affected left or right here?
You know what? I don't know. I think it really depends. Especially when it comes to the consoles. The games, that will probably be fine, but for the consoles, are the consoles even going to come out this year?
Yeah, I mean, Phil seems to think that they're not going to hold it back for any piece of software, and that, I mean, he seemed quite confident that it's coming out. There is no plan B, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm fortunate enough to be in a position financially where I don't have to worry in regards to picking up the new systems, but there are a lot of people who are not right now because of the T virus going on. So I don't know.
You know what? With that said, I just got to be honest here. I don't want to get all political, but no, just being honest though. Like with everything that's going on, most countries' governments are actually helping out, most citizens, where it's helping them alleviate some of the stress that we're going through right now. And I think hopefully in the next few months, we're past this stage and, we're back out there in the wild. And I think gamers are just so passionate about the hobby that it'd be really hard to stop them from getting these consoles. And these consoles, when they show the games that these consoles are capable of doing, I think gamers are just going to be in a trance with these systems and just want to go out and get them in fucking droves, man.
Yeah, I mean, the situation ain't going to disappear overnight, I'll tell you that. And real quick, I give a shout out to almost 1,900 people watching this live. Guys, if you haven't, hit that like button, help us out. Let's get past 700-800 likes for the end of the show and well over 1,000 after the fact. Share this out, help us out, and share this places. Let people know about the show. It's an independent podcast, Xbox podcast, and we try to have fun. Thank you guys for joining us. And by the way, chat, let us know what you're doing besides, as Alanah said, gaming and Pornhub. Let us know how you're passing the time. Okay?
We spend more, in a year or two on games and services for our consoles than we do on the hardware. I mean, I buy a lot of games. Dealer buys way more games than anybody I've ever known. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to buying the consoles, and I don't think they're going to get delayed. I try and look at, like, globally, all the products that are trying to ship and go to market and are out there to buy, like, are they really, like, not going to be able to deliver them? And I have a positive attitude right now that we're looking at 7 or 8 months until these consoles are supposed to hit the stores. And I think by then, and I agree with D, that things should be settled out to where they can just continue to get those out globally, I hope. I'm positive.
I think Phil kind of hit that on with the interview, right? He talked about it, said they don't even have a plan B. They've talked about, like, gradually, like, nothing's going to hold it back, not even Halo Infinite. And I think that's going to be something that we see with the event coming up in June and all the games coming out. Like, he said he gradually wants to bring these games out. And I think that's how they're going to reveal these games also, right? Gradually. It's not going to be all one big event like E3. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think they're going to save some games for even Gamescom, some games for whatever, like XO. I think that Xbox has a very different strategy. I think they're going through this generation very differently. They've already shown the console very differently than we've ever seen before. I don't know. I think there's a lot of change coming in the gaming marketing and world of Xbox. So I think people just need to just kind of chill, relax, and understand what's going to happen this next year is going to be very different from what we're used to. And that even means like not even just like what's going on in the world. I just think what's going on in general. Like the world, yeah, it's crazy, but just everything's fucking crazy. Right?
Sorry, I just saw Jill get molested by a spider on screen. That was such a weird part of this game. I don't know if it was weird. It was super weird. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Guillermo, by the way, he says work for me and gaming since because he's essential and gaming is how he passes his time. Thank you so much, Guillermo. This motherfucker been rocking out with us for a long time, man. So thank you so much, Guillermo. Do appreciate it, buddy. And also, we've got another one. Kimmy Guy says, do you guys think... actually, it's the same damn one. Thanks, Google. Do appreciate that. And we've also got AJ Harris, who says, definitely gaming and, yeah. What? I'm sorry, Alanah. Yeah, I won't say it again. But yeah, we get what you're saying. You're definitely trying to get stronger. All right, so let's... Luca, I mean, I don't remember. Did you say you thought sales would get affected negatively or positively?
I had a very vague answer.
All right.
So, yeah.
So you don't know.
I said that I think when it comes to games will be fine. But for the consoles, I'm not so sure because I don't know if the consoles are even going to come out this year. And then you guys went on this entire spiel about how like Phil Spencer
Yep.
was on Podcast Unlocked and
I like his
how he
hair.
didn't think. Yeah, see, I was paying attention, so you know.
So you don't know.
She took notes. Damn.
I don't know. Yeah.
God damn it, Luca.
I think that's the wise answer, though.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, she avoid an L, and maybe some of us won't because of that. So yeah, well said.
No idea.
I definitely think sales are being positively impacted, even though things are kind of in flux. I see Doom Eternal destroying Doom 2016 sales initially. I see Resident Evil 3 doing 5 million or 2 million in 5 days, and it's going to crush the original game. It already almost has, and pass Resident Evil 2 likely, even with lower scores on Metacritic. I see the engagement numbers going up pretty much across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know, there's always, as Bill said last week, there are those variables. Like we don't know exactly what's going to happen yet with the consumer, and I don't know. Anyone else care to give a fuck? Chime in.
I think that gaming in times of crisis goes up because just like
it does.
Grounded Gamer said.
But do sales go up though?
Yeah. I mean, right now I know I Xbox they're way up on console sales year over year, I believe, for the month. They're up on Game Pass. They're up on everything. It's across the board. They're up, and partially it's because we're stuck home and we have nothing else we can do. So that's even like a double whammy. Like you have now that you can escape, but now there's no escape other than your video game. You know. So I think that sales will be fine. I think the consoles are definitely on target because in the area, depending on if they tell the truth or whatever, that area is now reopened in China.
Hey, shout out to I gotta
people.
give a shout out to Gaming Forte as well. We gotta have him on again. He was a great guest. Killer in the chat thinks that Last of Us 2 will be a PS5 exclusive. Not happening. That's gonna be a PS4.
No, I saw that him say earlier that he thinks that was the reason why it was delayed. It's absolutely not that. They want them on both. Like the PS4 is the biggest home console right now. You'd be insane.
I can ask you this question.
The games make the money, right? Not necessarily the hardware.
Now, yeah.
I want to ask you real quick. Do you think with the situation that Sony kind of saw an opportunity to push the game back a little bit further and to get it closer to the PlayStation 5 so it launches alongside it?
No, because I kind of think that's a negative for them because people are having to spend the same amount of money closer together. Ideally, they want people to buy it twice, right? So having more of a gap is better.
Right.
From my understanding, what happened is they couldn't, the same as the issue Final Fantasy had, they couldn't confirm a universal release date that everyone would be able to receive the game. So they've delayed it to try to figure out how to actually manage shipping or pre-orders that have gone to GameStops that are closed where you can't cancel those orders anymore. Because you have to think this is one of the biggest PlayStation 4 releases ever. It's going to be one of their biggest game releases of all time. So getting this game out correctly is a really important thing for them to do business-wise.
You know, being that The Last of Us is one of my favorite games personally ever, when do you think that this will be when this will drop though, Alanah?
The Last of Us?
Any thoughts? The Last of Us 2.
I mean, I know that I have friends at Sony who didn't even know that this was happening until they saw a tweet about it. So it seems like my guess is that PlayStation doesn't know. My guess is that right now they're like, well, we kind of want to see if shipping starts to get more predictable and align, and then we'll do it. And I think one part that they're not getting enough credit for is The Last of Us Part 2 is a really important game for a lot of people in terms of the story. People are really attached to those characters. You don't want to have some people get it digitally and other people have to wait 2 months for something to ship to them, and then the whole thing be spoiled for those people. I do think it is an important thing to
just say get good and get it digital.
Good point. That's a good point. I think you tweeted that. To be honest, I thought I saw a tweet from you, but that does make a lot of sense. You can't just
you had
release it, you know.
Somebody working at a Walmart. What's going on?
What was that? That sounded like a Fisher-Price toy.
Somebody's robbing a dollar store right now.
I was going to say concerning this whole issue on will gamers spend the money during this time? Well, you got to think there's a lot of people out of work, sure, but there's a lot of people still that are essential and are going to work, and everybody is getting that stimulus check. So, that's going to be used. It's definitely.
I will say, my sister and I played a ton of games together when we were kids, and then she sort of had this point where she stopped, but I kept going when I was maybe like 12 or so. She'll like play The Sims, but that's about it. But she, over this past like 3 weeks, has been like, oh, I might get a Switch. What games should I get? And her husband has a PlayStation, and she's like, what kind of games could we play together? So I absolutely feel like it's made someone in my life who is like has an understanding of video games but doesn't really bother playing them very much have want to actually get involved in that hobby, which has been honestly really exciting for me. I could be like, oh my god, what kind of games can I introduce you to? This is going to be incredible.
You
but I feel like
told her to
there's
get
probably
Animal
a very
Crossing,
big
didn't
market
you?
for that.
Animal Crossing is
You told her
very
to get
popular.
Animal Crossing, didn't you?
I probably will, to be honest. She's probably gonna love that type of thing. It's definitely that kind of game. But I feel like I'm seeing people who haven't been big into games showing more of an interest now because I don't know. I feel like we kind of need this hobby to keep us sane, keep you positive. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. It's occasions like this where games are really underrated for all the mental health benefits for sure.
I'm like Night Wolf. I've been spending too much time on Amazon buying guitars and shit. I need multiple hobbies to stay sane right now. It's crazy.
My kid was talking to me like 2 weeks ago, and she said, "Dad, can you get me a game for the Switch?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And she goes, "It's kind of expensive." I go, "What is it?" She goes, Animal Crossing. It was like right when it was coming out, and I go, all right. And she's been playing it a ton. And then I had to buy Xbox Live for my other kids because now they're on talking to their friends because they can't see them. So it's and it was one of those things where, you know, buying Xbox Live Gold for my kids who rarely use it right now, like it was such a valuable thing to spend the money on.
I think it's
knowing
nice.
Yeah, that they can play, and like she's got her earbuds on, she's playing with her friends and they're talking, and then they don't go, kill a cat or something. It's great.
Yeah,
I
my
got a
kids have been
confession to
going
make.
crazy.
Wow, why a cat? Seems
I've
kind of
been
biased.
They
playing
love dogs.
Animal Crossing this whole time. Literally this last hour and a half, I've been playing Animal Crossing this entire time.
That's kind of fucked up, Alana.
So,
That is.
It's so easy to not think about, though. You can like have a perfect conversation. I'm just catching fish and stuff.
At least
I'm
she's
not
being
even
She's
honest.
grinding away at Animal Crossing,
Like,
talking about
anymore.
Xbox.
what
really
is it
easy.
about Animal Crossing that gets people so involved in it? Because it's so popular. Like my friend really
Oh
loves
shit!
it.
Someone's trying to.
It's not my kind of game. So like I started really late because I was more excited about Doom Eternal. So I feel like I'm a weird person to ask, and I actually don't think I would be playing as much of this game if it weren't for the current circumstances where it's just like town management. Like really for me, it's the same way that I play Minecraft where I'm digging for resources to build cool stuff. Like that's why I've been playing it, but I actually don't think I would have been if we weren't in self-isolation right now.
Are you docked or
I actually also
undocked?
kind of don't think it's a good game, but that's a separate story.
Docked or undocked right now? You on handheld or on TV?
So I actually, because I most recently had to record a Animal Crossing gameplay, I have it like still hooked up to my Elgato. So I'm on my PC with the chat open on one window, and I'm playing through the 4K capture utility, just with the Joy-Con.
She got that 4K action going on.
Yeah.
We all do.
Zero latency.
Yeah. Take that, Zachary, you fucking bitch.
What the fuck? Just sitting here.
Yeah, take that.
Just sitting here, you know, looking at chat.
Being all
looking at
peaceful and
chat.
shit. Yeah.
Still at the kids' table. We know where you're at.
Well, I mean, I asked Fonz. We'll kind of throw it out there. Anybody wants to throw an answer out there, but things you hope to see at these two different events. Again, we are hearing those are real. And one's...
Can I bring up the Last of Us thing? My bad.
Yeah.
I kind of find it weird that they delayed the Last of Us, but they didn't say shit about Ghost of Tsushima. Like at that point, that's delayed.
They want to
too,
feel
right?
out the situation with the virus, I think.
Well, as far as I know, the
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima is projected to be just fine. Like because they're a little bit later in terms of shipping, they seem to have had the lead where they're going to be okay. But that's a
good.
really complicated thing because I think Ghost of Tsushima looks really cool.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
an
it
IP
does.
where it's like, oh man, if Last of Us Part 2 ships near that, Ghost of Tsushima is screwed.
Either way, the PS5 isn't going to hurt for it. They're going to have a killer lineup, and they're going to have... They got massive games this year already before they even announced one damn next-gen game, really, from the first party.
Yeah.
So they've got a great year this year no matter what. Microsoft have an uphill battle already, I think, with Last of Us and Ghost alone. So,
Well, they need games, man.
They have
need those
Grounded and
games.
Battletoads.
but again, you know, Fable, you know, will be announced here in the next by May for sure, 100%.
gonna
I
And
want to
my
see
mind.
some
I
Halo
cannot wait.
Infinite gameplay. Come on.
you will.
Show me some
They
Halo
will.
Infinite gameplay.
Halo Infinite is going to look good. Now, I'm curious
I
to
think
see what
that'll be
other
their
games they
flagship.
use that engine for, that Slipspace engine.
Have you heard anything on Halo Infinite?
Who, me?
She's like, I heard it's trash.
No, they've been so locked down about Halo that I know absolutely nothing.
What do you take away from the multiple creative director situation there when one came and left and the other one?
I want the impression that they had a real story struggle and that there've been a lot of rewrites since people weren't happy with what happened in the previous game, obviously, narratively. The impression I get there is really just that one creative director had a particular vision that they were honing in on in terms of where the story was going, and then they had to really remake the whole thing kind of from the ground up to give the audience what they want, which sounds promising to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
As long maybe the guy from Halo 5 left, I'm good. I'm all good.
Well, that does line up with something I had actually heard, where they explored the possibility of Halo going like dark, like going, not the hero, and I don't know if that was, it was from a good source, but
They stole that idea from their marketing campaign for Halo 5.
What exactly does everyone Halo? This is since you brought that up. Does everyone want a hero? Or would you guys want to see him, and not be a hero, kind of go dark? And
you play a Halo game because for the same reason you watch like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, right? Like you want to see him kick some ass and do some cool shit.
And be the hero. So,
yeah,
I think that they might have had some of that type of struggle.
I think they need to, considering how negatively and poorly received Halo 5 was, at least in regards to the story, I think if they want to focus on Chief again, they have to really dial it back and focus on Chief and just have him be that hero. I don't think they would do something different after they tried something different and it failed spectacularly.
Yeah, I think they got to go back to their roots for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Master Chief lost all his gains in that Infinite trailer. Colt, what do you think it needs to be, like a good guy or a bad guy?
I don't care. I don't care about that. I think I want to go back to the way when I first played Halo Combat Evolved, I was scared to be there. I know it sounds weird, but when you start off in the Pillar of Autumn and it's being invaded, like I was afraid to be there. And it was a long time ago, and of course it's like, get him, there he goes, the grunts and stuff. But I mean, I was legitimately like frightened to go, especially when you get sucked up.
Did you have a teddy bear with you?
Were you in a bubble costume?
Well, like that's been missing in Xbox games. Gears 5 did it, but I don't know if you guys remember when you first get sucked into the Covenant ship, like in the second or third chapter of Halo Combat Evolved, you're in this alien ship and this ominous sound, and like I was like frightened, like I'd been captured, and you fight your way through there, and I just didn't feel that as I got used to Halo, and Halo 5 didn't hit those story
I was
beats.
talking to somebody like yesterday.
The best feeling was the flood, man.
The flood.
That was music terrifying.
That was terrifying.
The
like
music.
That's when I needed a damn teddy bear. But like that whole thing was.
That's why I brought my teddy bear. Bitch already had it.
The craziest thing about Halo. The craziest thing about Halo 5 was the marketing. I thought it was excellent marketing, but
it's just really misleading. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was like I was expecting something to tie into the game, and then that was going to like be part of the game, and it was like nothing. You
expected to play as Master Chief too, Tim. That didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that.
God. I was talking to somebody. Who was I talking to? Fuck. I know it was in a party with Ashtray, I think. Recently, and we were talking about Gears and how Gears needed to slow the fuck down, and I had said this over and over to Colt before this. It's so funny. Someone was saying the same thing as me. That Gears needed to slow down. Gears 1 had an element of horror to it. A slight element of horror, especially when you encounter the wretches and like the big refinery. And Gears 6 would just slow down and reduce the amount of enemies, but make them more deadly, more dangerous, more frightening. Just the amount of how that would revitalize the series to me. They
were popping out of the emergent holes, and you had to close those, or else it wouldn't stop.
There was still only 3 of them spawning at once, type thing. Like you'd see 2 boomers in panic, or is it? You're absolutely right. I hadn't even thought about it. In more recent Gears, they're like, here are 10 enemies. You're like,
now shoot the ice and kill 20 of them. I did really like Gears 5 though.
I think that the article that Miranda Sanchez wrote yesterday was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I think she did a really good job. I mean, they talked about how they're kind of like making it more personal. They even mentioned that. She mentioned that, saying that they're not trying to make it where, okay, well, you saved the world. Well, how much more bigger can you get? Maybe it's time to kind of like make it more personal, shrink it down a little bit. Like they've actually mentioned that. And of course, going to like games like Gears Tactics, different kind of genres. I think that's awesome. I think the Coalition has a lot planned for Gears in the next couple years, or maybe in the next 4 years. But I don't know, man. That whole article that she wrote was freaking amazing. And because you guys know me, I love Gears. Gears are my favorite franchise at Xbox. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. But I do agree, like that Berserker and Gears 1, that when it came out, the Berserkers scared the shit out of me.
Those Berserkers were so scary, dude.
They were. I was like, run, bitch. Like,
we heard you in Resident Evil 2 when that body fell out of locker. You know, you get scared easy.
Hey, first of all, I don't want to hear it.
Ran over this teddy bear.
Back to Halo 5 real quick. Even though the story was, from what I played of it, lacking, I really like that multiplayer, especially.
It was cool.
It was so much fun. There were so many options. I did a lot of private matches with my friends. It was great. So I hope they just add on to that and they don't do a complete overhaul.
That was the one saving grace of that game, right? It was basically the multiplayer, because that story was trash.
I do.
Fonz played 30 minutes of it.
Unfortunately,
what are you talking about? I played that game twice. I played that campaign.
I got him again, Zucker.
Okay?
I know.
Hey, you know what? I want to thank everyone for joining us for today's show. And as you guys know, we don't set a time limit. When it feels like it needs to end, then that's when it needs to end. So we want to thank everybody for coming out. And
doesn't feel like it to me.
Colt, what do you? I mean, let's talk about what you ate for dinner today.
Let's talk about when you were scared, Colt.
Yeah, I'm scared. I was scared.
I was an enemy ship, and I heard.
You know what?
You know what I'm talking. You know how so many games just they throw in that fun. Like, I talked to Dealer about how I couldn't stand Fallout 4 and Mass Effect Andromeda's main character, how he went into a perilous situation like, no, sounds like we'll have to check it out. And that's how both of the voice actors were. Like, right, what are we going to do? They're turning people into their own species. He's like, I guess we better get in there with guns and stuff.
I get what you're saying.
Let me grab my shotgun.
There's no games to stop.
Phoenix sees like General Ram killing his like sergeant, right? Like that face of dread, like something like that, where it makes you think like, wow, these people are not immortal.
Yeah,
I get when it comes off glibbish. It can come off glibbish, like, or not real. You want that reality aspect, or where it takes you to a point where you.
It's really the only.
Plus, it was just cool to watch that guy get shanked. It was pretty cool.
It's really the only thing that Xbox is missing. Like, I know they don't get credit for all the other things they do incredibly well, but they're just missing that.
Banjo.
There's not an Xbox game that's going to handle some of the themes we're going to see in The Last of Us 2. There never has been, there never will be. Maybe they never will do that. But that's just one of the things that's missing, is that mature,
Count Super Lucky's Tale 3
heavily story-driven character story that is missing from
Hellblade
Xbox Game Studios.
Is sort of that. Like, Hellblade 2 has the potential to do that.
Right, agreed.
But I mean, Ninja Theory.
I mean, I think there's like some seriously deep themes in Last of Us 2 based off that last trailer.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, bitch is
Ninja
getting
Theory,
her elbows broken with a hammer. I mean,
I had to look away from that.
And Enslaved is like a pretty serious franchise. Like, maybe we could get an Enslaved 2. I don't know how likely that is.
Oh, that was a great game.
That would be
love
so
Enslaved,
good.
But I think they do have the studios now who I could see making that stuff. It's just that I feel like Xbox has such a focus on everything being online that I don't know if they want to.
Let me ask you a question before we go. Were you ever concerned, like, really, for Xbox, like during the 2017 area? Did you think there was a time where, they only had 4 studios, they weren't really producing these games, they kind of were not, kind of avoiding the subject in a sense? Were you ever worried for the brand, or did you think that this might be it?
No, because I mean, no matter what, Microsoft has so much money, and Xbox is not the big income earner like it is for Sony with PlayStation. But I also just try not to think that way about stuff. Like I love Xbox, and I have a very big allegiance to Gears and to Halo, like massively. But at the same time, I try not to think about brands in a way that I'm like personally worried about them. Like, I try to separate myself from that and be like, well, we'll see what happens. Interesting business. I try not to think about it, as a personal friend taking a hit. But honestly, yeah, they still just have so much money. That
you didn't feel that way when you were playing through the campaign of Halo 5? Like, oh, wait, what's going on here?
I didn't finish it. Like, it's for sure a bummer to me when that stuff happens.
I didn't finish
it. To the note of like Halo, my thing is I love Halo, and I play through Combat Evolved every single year. I would prefer that we didn't focus that much on Master Chief, have him go back to being a vessel, but give me more like cool Halo lore, like
She
cool
said-
stuff about the Covenant, you know? Like, give me more of like the rest of the universe.
What's your favorite
care-
She said,
game
Master
besides
Chief, shut the
Common
fuck
Evolved?
up and kill stuff. That's what you just
Pretty
said.
much,
All right.
yeah. Like you can make everything else around Master Chief way more interesting. I do like some of the stuff they did with Cortana. I just don't know that they did it quite right. But yeah, I don't want him to be.
Did you
suddenly
like
now-
ODST?
I love ODST.
It's my favorite one.
True or
and
false, the
people
Flood need to
mock me
come
for
back
it.
and be one of the main focuses in Halo Infinite.
I mean, I really like the Flood, but I know a lot of people like would prefer the Flood never came back.
Why?
I love the Flood. The Flood is awesome.
Yeah,
they
I-
headshot
I don't know why
Melee
they
in
haven't
co-op.
brought it in.
Shut up, Tucker. Atriox needs to come in, and the Flood need to come in, and Cortana needs to be way in the background doing what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah, everybody just needs to chill out. Just give me like cool alien lore that Master Chief just has to fight through this crazy stuff. I don't need to know his life story. I already have that from the books and the comics. I feel like the games, like I want them to less focus on him as a character because I think it like they toe a line of it getting a bit too cheesy for me there. I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe that's just me.
Well, you should run through Halo 5 at least.
I played about half.
You can't
and
be a
I'm
fraud, Alanah. You gotta
I'm
beat
just
it.
so like disappointed in it that I
Jeez.
just didn't. Yeah, I know.
You hear that? Yeah.
That's the same with me. That's the only Halo game I have never completed. I got
Me
halfway
too.
through it and I was just like, forget it. I was just disgusted by it.
You fought the
Yeah.
war 8 times in that game.
God, it's
So
a
I'm the
game, not
only- I'm the
Ebola,
only-
D-Batch.
I'm the only idiot that played it twice, huh?
Yeah, you are the
beat it
only
on-
idiot
I
who
beat
played
it
it
on
twice.
Legendary.
I played it twice.
Hey, Kimmy Guy, by the way,
Legendary.
says, great panel, guys. Love it. Thank you so much, sir. Do appreciate it, man. Shout out to Nuke Nukem, Ashtray, Lethal Pop, and moderators, Obi-Wan. Everybody in the chat said hi. Everybody who didn't say hi. Everyone who engaged and shared it out. Thank you so much. Hit that like button if you haven't. Thank you for rocking out with us. Almost 1,900 today. And again, I got to say it because it's such a crazy informative episode as well. This one was awesome. But the last one we had too with Bill Stillwell, so much information behind the scenes from a guy like Bill Stillwell, is like a pioneer and a visionary of Microsoft and Xbox. And again, next week we got a Killzone developer, Chris Grimmel, coming on. He made PS3, PS4 games, and he's going to give us some insight. And we got to thank Alanah for coming on this week. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Even though you're playing Animal Crossing the whole
I
time,
made
you did
so
quite
much
well.
money in the past hour, you guys, catching.
Did you sell all your
butterflies
turnips?
and shit?
She
I didn't-
sold all
I
those
didn't wake
turnips
up before
gold.
12 on Sunday, so I didn't get any turnips. Okay.
Did you catch a lot of bass?
Yeah, caught some bass, sold them all because
Yeah,
the fish
yeah.
guy's on my island right now.
Oh,
You know,
man.
I've been making
Yeah,
bank.
I watched my
She's
kids
grinding
play
away
that
in the
game.
background during the podcast. But we did,
very
again, you did a
easy.
great job, and thank you again for coming on and giving us a shot.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you.
But I do want to say thank you again, and tell people real quick. We'll start with you. Where can they find you, and what have you been playing? And like we don't already know.
You can find me on everything, like literally all social media at Charizard. It's my name in the middle of Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
And my shtick, because I work for Rooster Teeth outlets, Funhouse, and Inside Gaming. Basically, I just play new releases constantly. So I've been playing a little bit of Warzone,
What a gig.
playing a lot of Doom Eternal. Naturally, right now playing Animal Crossing. It's just all the new games that come out. Play all of them.
Awesome. Cold Eastwood, good show, buddy. And where can people find you? What have you been playing?
You can find me at Colt Eastwood on YouTube and at Twitter at Colt Eastwood. And I just finished Resident Evil 3 last night. And I think I was in the party yelling over and over and like shaking the controller. But yeah, that was great. And so now I'm going through Resident Evil 2 since I only played half of it last year and uninstalled it to play other stuff. So it's back on the menu. So yeah, good show. Thanks for having Alanah on here. And it's a good chat.
Awesome. And also, D-Batch, what have you been playing, and where can people find you, bud?
I've been playing a little bit of Resident Evil 3 and mostly Doom Eternal. I'm probably going to get back to Resident Evil 3 tonight and I don't know, put a couple hours into it. You guys can catch me on YouTube, of course, at D-Batch and at Twitter at D_Batch. It was a great show. It was nice having you on, Alanah. And yeah.
By the way, if you beat Resident Evil 3, you unlock a shop where you spend points, and that's how I got this costume. So just know that there's like an infinite rocket launcher. You can start out with a lockpick. You can start with more inventory space. So it's a great game. Hey, we've also got Luca. Thanks for joining us. And what have you been playing, and where can people find you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've been playing Destiny 2. I've been
Shocking.
playing I've been playing Code Vein. I've been trying that out. I really like it. And I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'm on my 5th playthrough. So, but yeah, you guys can find me. Yeah, it's amazing. You guys can find me on Twitter at the Ash and Luca. And yeah, once again, awesome show, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I always enjoy spending time with my bros. And very nice meeting you, Alanah.
Thank you. You too.
Hey, Fonzarelli, the Grounded Gamer. When the fuck is your next video?
Oh man,
I said it last week too.
Right? Like you know, I've been really busy, have to work, lots of overtime and stuff, so it's kind of rough. But I have been gaming a lot on the weekends, and honestly, it's gaming over videos for me. I'm sorry.
Oh God, stop.
You know look, Final Fantasy VII Remake is fire. The game is
trash.
Awesome.
When's your next video?
So I'm still playing through that. You know, I just beat Doom Eternal. Great game. But yeah, you can find me at The Grounded Gamer on YouTube and Jay Fonzarelli on Twitter. And thank you, chat, for being here. And of course, Alanah, thank you for being here. It's awesome to have you on the show. Really respect your stuff. So yeah. My next video though, don't know.
Cole, I guess we're gonna have to beat this motherfucker's legs until he can't walk or something to get him to make videos. I don't
Nobody
know.
wants to watch
He
him
only
anyway.
beat 2 games over the past several weeks. I beat like 4 or 5. No, I'm just kidding. I know you're an essential worker,
gotta work a lot,
and
man.
props to you. And stay safe and don't lick any sewer drains and shit while you're out and about.
Yeah, definitely not doing that.
Hey, Tim Dog, where can people find you, bud, and what you been playing?
You can find me at xCloud Tim Dog 70. Oh no, xCloud Tim Dog just on Twitter, and I've been playing Control. And like you said, Dealer, I agree with some of your issues with the game. You know,
Control. You talking about? Sorry, you cut out there.
Yeah. No, I agree with some of your criticism of the game, but I am enjoying the game. I just finished the 5th mission, and looking to finish it. But it was a pleasure to have Alanah on. Awesome stuff. Thank you for coming on. And also, Luca, thanks for stopping by.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Hey, Zalker, what you been playing, girlfriend?
Girl, I'm playing so many games. No, I'm playing. I beat Doom Eternal, which was fun. And loved it. I beat Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered on Veteran, getting aimbotted by freaking computers. It was great. And now I'm basically almost. Yeah, I'm almost done with Assassin's Creed 2 now. I'm playing the Ezio collection. The game is freaking fun. I'm having fun.
How
with
does it
that.
hold up?
Pretty good, actually. I mean, actually, to be honest with you, it's about an hour.
No lighter. You know it's trash.
Dude, some of the climbing is rough. And then some of the AI, like I'm trying to assassinate someone that ended up assassinating like 3 civilians. I'm like, what the fuck?
Ezio does not assassinate children.
I
Desynchronized.
loved that game, but I can't imagine how it feels to actually go back through that too.
It's all right. So yeah, that's just what I've been playing. It's a lot of fun. And then you guys can find me on Twitter at Zalker87 and obviously on YouTube Zalker87. Try to put content out for everybody. Alanah, thank you for coming in and plugging in Pornhub. Luca, thank you.
Anytime. Shout out.
You don't work for okay. I just want to make sure you're not sponsored by them, are you? Because that's a pretty sweet
gig. I have thought about what would happen if I streamed games on there though, just because I find it funny.
Oh my God.
The idea of just
never going to some dark
no
web
face
shit.
cam, just stream a video game just to see how bad that chat would be.
Put your next video on there.
I don't even want to think about it.
People have done stuff like that on.
You got to put you got to wear like a sweater and super conservative and be like, what's going on?
No, Alanah,
like,
here's what you do. Here's what you do. You hype it up on Twitter for 3 months. Say, look, I'm streaming my first game on Pornhub ever. Show up in a full suited, legitimate from the 80s Ninja Turtle costume.
Someone will find a way
that might work for some people.
That might work. That might work for some.
Cody Eastwood will be in the chat. Hey,
you answered my dream.
Finally.
He said, yeah. Well, either way, Zalker, so you can find him at Zalker87 or in your recommended feed. Of course. Fucking
dude,
piece of shit.
At this point, it's not even a joke.
It's ridiculous. I've never seen someone recommended so much as Zalker87. So check him out. Makes good stuff.
That's when you're a savage.
I fucking hate that guy. And of course, you can find me at @dealer _II on Xbox Live, Twitter at dealer _ gaming, and here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, that join button, and of course that little bell button, and that'll let you know when we are live every single week. And D-Batch, I did get you right.
Yeah, I just want to say something real quick though. Shout out to all the essential workers. shout out to everyone like works in a grocery store that's like delivering our parcels.
MVPs.
Like you guys are really on the front line, because like when I go out there, like today I had to go out and get groceries and stuff, and I felt like I was playing Doom, man. Like honestly, it was really
Yeah, it feels like
D-Bats jumping off of ledges and shit.
it was intense. And you guys are out there every day keeping us together.
Dude, how many people did you fucking shoot today? Is that what you telling us? You playing Doom Eternal?
Hey, trust me, there's a couple of people, and I was like, "Yo, you're way too close to me. Like, what are you doing?"
Chainsaw.
You're Canadian. You probably just gave him a hug. Don't
Any
lie.
other game for an analogy, but
He said he felt like he was playing Doom, chainsaw people at the Walmart.
Well, you do have the time when you're gonna walk
shout out
by
to the
something.
essential workers,
Yeah.
man. You guys are keeping everything held together right now, and I salute you.
That's a good point. We got a lot of them in the chat, man, like Guillermo and so many others, and people like Fonz on the show. He's probably working right now. Who knows? So again,
I'll be working soon, couple hours.
shout out to everybody who joined us live. Tell a buddy, and of course, stay safe. I've been playing a lot of guitar and beating games, and even went back and played Advanced Warfare with old Kevin Spacey. Yeah, things have changed since then, haven't they? So again,
Oh, sure.
He's
thanks
a
for ruining
different
House of
kind
Cards,
villain
Kevin
now,
Spacey.
but yeah.
And
we both went back and finished that.
yeah, we did. And again, shout out to almost 2,000 people getting up there towards 1,900 tonight, guys. Thank you so much. And if you haven't, check out last week's episode. Check out my last video. Check out everyone's stuff. Support everybody. We do appreciate it. We're out of here.
Bye.
Later, everybody.
Xbox sucks.
There's no games and stuff.
Put Animal Crossing on